Hi, 6th grade. We have 2 videos left for this school year, and then we are all done until you are off to junior high. And we're going to talk about the castle today. So we're going to be looking at this page in your book that you don't have, but I have it on here. And then you have an activity that you'll be doing. Castles gradually began to replace large log houses as homes of medieval lords. Castles had become common in Europe by the 11th century. The castle in the Middle Ages was both a home and a military fortress. A couple terms here. This medieval. Notice this evil isn't spelt like they're bad. It's a different word. This is an adjective describing this time. It's in the middle. That's what that medi, like median in math, or medium, like when you're getting a drink somewhere. Okay. And the other term I want to talk about is the century. When you're given a century like that, the 11th century, you need to, so that's, a century means 100. So it's 11, it means the 11th set of hundreds. The first set of hundreds was the zeros. That was the first. So anytime you see century, you need to go down by 100. And so this is between 1000 AD and 1099 AD is the 11th century. So the 12th century is the 1100s, and the 13th century is the 1200s. That's a good thing to know. I think we've talked about it before, and you've probably heard it before, but just a little reminder. Okay. Castles were surrounded by strong walls. Some castles in the late Middle Ages had stone walls over 30 feet thick. Inside the walls were towers, a courtyard, living areas, kitchens, and a great hall where meetings and banquets were held. Some castles had a strong central tower called the keep, where the lord and his family lived. It was the safest place in the castle. Often the keep stood on a hill. Inside the keep were several rooms. They included the family's bedrooms and sitting rooms and a few other rooms, such as offices or a chapel. Most servants slept in the rooms where they worked, rather than having private bedrooms. So you just have like a little platform off to the side, and that's where you slept at night. Castles were cold and dark inside. Lords tried to brighten them by painting the walls and ceilings with bright colors and placing burning torches in the rooms. They also put mats on the floors and hung woven tapestries on the walls to keep out the cold. Early castles were made of wood. By the 12th century, so that's the 1100s, most castles were made of thick stone. Builders dug a moat around the castle to keep attackers from reaching it easily. A drawbridge crossed the moat to the castle gate. During an attack, the guards raised the drawbridge to cover the gate, cutting off the entrance to the castle. I believe you will be seeing that word moat spelled differently, which doesn't matter that it's spelled a little bit differently. It still means the same thing. If attackers got safely across the moat, they had to face the gatehouse. The gatehouse was a large stronghold in the castle wall. If the attackers entered the gatehouse, castle defenders could lower a large screen to trap them inside. So they'd be like trapped in between the walls. Like if they were trying to come in and they got in through the gate, they could close it and close this and they'd be trapped. Invaders attacked castles in different ways. Sometimes they used a battering ram, a long log tipped with iron. This weapon could knock the gate or part of the castle down. Other soldiers rolled tall siege towers against a wall and then climbed into the castle. Sometimes the attacking army threw rocks and burning rags over the walls. The soldiers also dug tunnels under the castle and started fires there, hoping to burn away the castle's foundation to make the structure collapse. So you're going to learn more about that, about like siege warfare and how a siege would go, and different kinds of tools and weapons and things they used in those in your exercise in a bit here. During the Middle Ages, wealthy people liked to host large banquets. Let me try to get this clear. There we go. Lords would invite many guests, and they would eat at long tables in the great hall of the castle. Pages waited on tables. Squires were often responsible for carving the meat. Court jesters provided live entertainment such as music, juggling, and acrobats for the lord and his guests. Many different foods were served at these banquets. A meal might have included soup, head cheese, a sausage-like dish that is made from the meat of a pig's head. Yeah, you want some head cheese? I don't make head cheese with mine, but Jenna might. Puddings, fish, pork, venison, pheasants, larks, and other birds. Dessert was usually a pie filled with fish or fowl. One medieval custom was to insert live birds into a pie and release them in front of the guests when dessert was served. Many people have heard the nursery rhyme about this custom. Sing a song for 6 pence, that's an amount of money, a pocket full of rye, 24 blackbirds baked in a pie. When the pie was opened, the birds began to sing, "Wasn't that a dainty dish to set before the king?" Banquets used large flat pieces of bread as plates. Forks were not used until the 1600s. Okay? So they're using their plate would like soak up juices and things, and then they could tear off of it and use that to help scoop food into their mouths. But they still had table manners. So people used their fingers to eat most foods, but they still had table manners. For example, it was considered rude to gnaw on the bones or to dip food into the common salt bowl. So that would be like a bowl on the table that you could pinch salt out of. You couldn't dip into that with your meat. Kind of like our no double dipping rule that we have today. They show this kind of picture here of a medieval banquet. You can look up different ways of doing something like that, of maybe cooking some of the foods, or even if you just cook a chicken and pretend like it's a pheasant. There are fun things that you can do with medieval banquets. So anyway, if your family or somebody that you know wants to do that, you could have fun with that. All right. That's all in the book. You have this packet in with your work. If you have a QR code scanner on your, like if you're using a phone or iPod or iPad or something, you might be able to scan that with your QR code scanner. Otherwise, just type this in, and you don't have to type in the https : whatever. You can just start here and type that in, the dkfindout.com. And then there will be little things for you to click on, and you just need to follow. Here it just asks you some questions that you can find answers to there. And then you start by clicking on this link that's on that screen. And then it has another link that you click on here for early castles. And then you have questions to answer. And I have starred the ones that I would like you to do, and then the other ones are optional, so that you can decide if you want to do them. Maybe you're interested in those things, and I just didn't ask you to look at them. Like here it talks about different types of craftsmen, or spinners and spinning wheels, things like that. So those things are optional. The banners on castles kind of goes along with the coat of arms stuff that we did. Don't let this take you too long. Like if you get stuck or whatever, you can save it for later, or I just like you to spend some time on it and finding out some answers to some of those questions. So enjoy that. Have fun learning about castles. I always like learning about that kind of stuff. And your next video will be the end of the chapter, and it doesn't have any work to go with it. You're just watching the video, and then you'll have time over 2 days to work on however you're going to do your castle project, and that paper is in your packet as well. All right, have a good day. I will see you later. Bye.